Peacetalk uses specific questions to redirect the other person's focus from the person onto the problem. Of course, sometimes a counter-assault is necessary, like with random or criminal acts. Here are William and John to give an example of a traditional self-defense when it's not really necessary.
Hey man, that's mine. What's your problem anyway?
You're my problem, and back off.
Will certainly starts this conflict with an assault by accusing John of having a problem, and he does it in a threatening way. John is quick to react with a traditional self-defense and escalates the conflict.
Hey man, that's mine. What's your problem anyway?
You're my problem, and back off.
Tough talk from a fool.
Maybe you'd like to see what this fool can do to you.
It's no surprise that escalating conflict is now set in. Was a counter-assault the best way for John to defend himself against Will's first assault? It created more defensiveness and invited even more escalation, which can lead to very serious consequences for everyone. Remember that a counter-assault is a good choice sometimes, but not always.
Hey man, that's mine. What's your problem anyway?
You're my problem, and back off.
With our example, we saw how the first assault came from Will and how it was immediately returned in kind by John.
You're my problem, and back off.
Remember that it takes an assault plus an assault to create escalating conflict. When Will chooses a counter-assault as self-defense, he chooses escalating the conflict.
You're my problem, and back off.
If John had known what to say right at the start, he could have really changed how things worked out. Safe defense begins early with questions and at the same time takes a safe, leaning position, as you will learn about in Peace Moves. The first thing to do in Peace Talk is identify the problem and have it said out loud for all to hear, even if the problem is obvious.
Hey man, that's mine. What's your problem anyway?
Stop. What's the problem?
Notice that John didn't say, "What's your problem?" which is blaming, and like any other assault, invites defensiveness. What he said with a calm but firm voice was, "What's the problem?" which is much better.
Hey man, that's mine. What's your problem anyway?
Stop. What's the problem?
John might easily guess that Will thinks he was stealing, and then try to solve the problem by denying it. He might argue, explain, apologize, or ignore him. This is trying to be peaceful with one-sided problem solving, and can often invite more argument and blame.
Hey man, that's mine. What's your problem anyway?
Stop. What's the problem?
That's my stuff you're stealing.
Will answers the first Peace Talk question with another assault, although it's a lot softer. He accuses John of stealing and is still focused on the person. Safe defense has a great backup question if "stop, what's the problem" fails or doesn't quite fit. And that question is, why would you say that? Watch how John uses it when the first question doesn't work.
Hey man, that's mine. What's your problem anyway?
Stop. What's the problem?
That's my stuff you're stealing.
Why would you say that?
I saw you messing with it.
Now we know. The problem has been identified and said out loud for all to hear. Will was definitely concerned about losing his stuff and John taking it. Sometimes, like with name calling or with an accusation, it's better to use the backup peace question first. Peace Talk uses questions to communicate because answering even yes or no questions requires thinking, cooperation, and a focus on the problem. Okay, so now the problem has been identified out loud and both people have heard it. It's time to rephrase it and create agreement. It is not yet time to look for solutions, even if you have one. To rephrase, simply listen to what is said and then put what you think it means into your own words. Also, to compel thinking and cooperation, put your rephrase in the form of a question by starting it with the words, "Are you saying?" For example, the problem, "You've been telling lies about me," can rephrase into, "Are you saying I'm spreading rumors?" Or, "Are you saying that someone told you I was talking behind your back?" Or the problem, "You took the last one," can rephrase into, "Are you saying you wanted another one?" Or, "Are you saying that there is none left for you?" Remember, even if it's tempting and obvious, the goal here is not to try and solve the problem or deny that there is one. That is one-sided thinking and often invites defensiveness and more argument. The goal here is to begin two-sided problem solving by getting agreement. Watch how John uses rephrasing to get agreement from Will.
Hey man, that's mine. What's your problem anyway?
Stop. What's the problem?
That's my stuff you're stealing.
Why would you say that?
I saw you messing with it.
Are you saying you think I was looking to steal something?
Yeah, that's right.
If the other person says anything at all, it's because they want to be understood correctly. This will justify their position, their feelings, and their actions. They will either think about the rephrase and agree, or they will think about it and then correct it, looking for agreement. Either way, you are compelling cooperation focused on the problem. Rephrases can be clever or they can be basic. What they can't be is a repeat of the same words. If a person says, "You're going too slow," a repeat would be, "Are you saying I'm going too slow?" which won't work. You must use your own words to describe the problem. As a backup way to form a rephrase into a question, Safe Defense uses the beginning words, "Do you mean?" instead of, "Are you saying?" For example, if the problem is, "You took off without me," a clever rephrase would be, "Do you mean you accidentally got left behind?" Remember that the goal of a rephrase is to get agreement. Finally, do not rephrase the assault, which is focused on the person. For example, do not rephrase the assault, "You're stupid," with, "Are you saying I'm not very smart?" You must find the problem behind the assault and then rephrase that. The proper thing to say to the assault, "You're stupid," is, "Why would you say that?"
Hey man, that's mine. What's your problem anyway?
Stop. What's the problem?
That's my stuff you're stealing.
Why would you say that?
I saw you messing with it.
Are you saying you think I was looking to steal something?
Yeah, that's right.
So now John has identified the problem out loud with step 1, and he has gotten agreement from Will with step 2. The final step is to find acceptable options for a solution. To do this, John will again use the form of a question to compel cooperation with a focus on the problem. He will begin by saying something true and connecting that to a question asking for possible options. For example, John might say, "Calling me a thief is an option. Is there another?" Or, "Coming up on me all hard is an option. Is there another?" What he says is,
Jumping to conclusions is an option. Is there another?
the options given by Will may or may not be acceptable to John. Regardless, John accepts Will's option as a possibility and asks for another by saying, "That's an option. Is there another?"
Hey man, that's mine. What's your problem anyway?
Stop. What's the problem?
That's my stuff you're stealing.
Why would you say that?
I saw you messing with it.
Are you saying you think I was looking to steal something?
Yeah, that's right.
Jumping to conclusions is an option. Is there another?
You can keep away from my stuff.
That's an option. Is there another?
You can leave other people's stuff alone.
That's an option. Is there another?
You can apologize.
John continues with this approach until either he can accept one of Will's options or he wants to offer one of his own.
Can we go somewhere else and talk about this?
This final question may or may not be needed depending on the circumstances. To review, Peacetalk is used early in self-defense, right after the first assault. The first thing to do is identify the problem out loud by saying, "Stop, what's the problem?" Or, "Why would you say that?" Remember to say what's the problem and not what's your problem. And remember that sometimes, like with accusation, blaming, and name-calling, the backup question is better to start with. Rephrasing is used to get agreement, focused on the problem, and compel listening and thinking. To do this, listen to how the problem is described, and then use your own words to say what you think they are trying to say. Make your rephrase in the form of a question by beginning with the words, "Are you saying?" or "Do you mean?" Do not repeat the same words that they use, and do not rephrase an assault or offense. Only rephrase the problem identified out loud in step 1. Finally, the last step in Peacetalk is to interest the other person in creating options for solving the agreed upon problem. To do this, connect what happened with a question asking for other options. For example, "Blaming me is an option. Is there another?" And then, "That's an option. Is there another?" Remember that any option is acceptable to consider, no matter how one-sided or ridiculous. The point is that the person is thinking about options other than attacking the person. It is important to know that there are many methods to problem solving, and each one works differently in different situations. Peace talk is used in an emergency as self-defense, not to clear up misunderstandings or clear your good name. After all, John might have been trying to steal Will's stuff. Peace talk is safe defense.